Hey, greetings once again. We are here. I can't fail to applause and thank my loyal followers for following and for watching these videos. I believe by now there is an improvement according to the topics we've looked at and the skills you've gained. Even now in this video, I'm now going to look at a new topic, and this topic, you wouldn't like to miss out anything or any video posted on this topic. And for that reason, I would advise or request that if you've not yet subscribed to this channel, it would be better that you subscribe, such that you get notified. If you put on the bell button, you get notified any time a new video is posted, such that we move at the same pace. Otherwise, we are going to look at employment communication or job related communication. So this is to do with the job environment communication, that is like employment communication. So here we are going to look at mainly two things, that is job interviews and then employment letters. That is mainly what employment communication deals with. So by definition, employment communication revolves around written communication and conversation between the employer and the job seeker. That is, it is not that it is written communication and conversation. So it is both oral and written. So something like that. Or you can say employment communication is the conversation you have with an employer. So for example, you have an interview for a job you have applied. You show up. The interview starts by asking several basic questions such as what is your age, name, history, among others. And then later the employer approaches you with profound questions such as what qualities do you have that will be suitable for the job position you have applied, or why should I hire you? So from the beginning of the communication to the end is what is considered as employment communication. So the employer communicates with the job seeker or prospective talents about the vacancies, company culture, perks, and benefits and security, among others. And employers use creative means to attract and retain best talents. So the prospective candidate communicates with the employer about their interest and willingness to work through different mediums, using the different mediums of communication. So employment communication is the viable way or ways through which the job seeker persuades the employer to hire him or her by demonstrating that his or her knowledge, expertise, and skills satisfy the job requirements in the best possible manner. So employment communication is not only limited to interviews. It takes on other forms like letters of employment, like I said earlier, which include application letters, resume, and many others in that category. So you may ask yourself, what is the importance of employment communication? So imagine if an employer were to just hire people randomly without knowing if the person qualifies for the position or not. This would be of high risk to the business, as it would result to a lot of disapprovals and end up wasting a lot of time to fix situation by retaining such a person. So for example, if the person who the employer chose randomly to hire without an interview were to be unfamiliar and inexperienced with the tasks that are given, then obviously the result would be dramatically in a negative perspective. But if the employer sat down to a conversation such as an interview to question the person applying for the job, then it would be more of a possibility that the employer would hire someone that would best fit the available position. So that is why employment communication is important, or it is necessary to be present, because it is beneficial for the employer. Like just as we've seen, it enables the employer to get the best person suited for the particular job position. But it is also important, it's not only important to the employer, but it is also important to the applicant. So how is it important to the applicant? Now, first of all employment communication should be seen in a positive action, for the reason being that it is an opportunity to express yourself. Like for the applicant, it would be an opportunity, since the applicant can explain his or her skills that are suitable for that position. So first of all, you want to know what an employer will be looking for in a job applicant. Like we need to look at what things do job employers look for in job applicants. So you want to learn, you want to let the employer know that you are the best for the job during this employment communication. So first, you need to take in deep consideration and work on the following things we're going to look at that an employee will seek for employment. So among these things, there is strong work ethic. So these are what we're going to look at as some of the things employers look for in job seekers before they could actually employ them. So number one is strong work ethic. So are you reliable? Can an employer depend on you? So and are you self-motivated? So these are what are considered to be the strong work ethics. Like you want to be reliable as you want to be dependable. So you also want to push yourself to improve your work, and such motivation will certainly help you achieve your goal and progress with the company. So that is the number one thing employers will look for. Then secondly, time management skills. Though some people, especially Africans and Ugandans, we are poor timekeepers, but that does not mean that everyone is their good timekeepers. I've seen some. So it's good to improve this time management skill. So this is time management skill is how well you manage your schedule. Like ask yourself, can I plan and follow a schedule? Remember that a management skill is very important and critical for any profession. So for instance, a doctor performing surgery must follow a schedule in order to accomplish the surgery. If not, the result can be drastic and can lead to an unfortunate tragedy. So a company, and let's say a company which depends a lot on production, managing a schedule is very critical, because imagine if the employees did not follow the schedule, then it is certain that the sales would drop. So thus, time management is another important skill that employers will look for. Third is problem solving skills. So remember solving math equations in algebra class, like those classes. So this is where all these assignments pay off. So if you were that person that used to think that how will these things help us, they are helpful, and actually I appreciate that of our curriculum, despite the fact that it still needs to be worked on, maybe to make it more practical, and more skills based. You get something that otherwise those people deal with curriculum whatever, and those who are well acquainted with that can advise about that. But otherwise, what I wanted to show that those classes were important for developing that skill of problem solving, because problem solving is very critical in business, and an employer will want someone who can be independent, like capability to detect a problem, brainstorm a solution to a timed matter, and have the skills or the skill to implement them or the solution It is very important. So this will definitely prove to the employer that you are dependable no matter the circumstances, since having the ability to solve problems is a big plus in a business. So problem solving is another important skill. So as we continue with this topic, we shall see how employers test for possession of these skills like that we are looking at by applicants, and how you can handle such situations during an interview. So all you need to do, like I told you, wouldn't like to miss out any part of this topic, because you really need it, like we need it. Then the fourth skill is communication skills. So in business, communication is always uh, used, from working with a customer to speaking with your supervisor. Thus, it is important for the applicant to have good communication skills. So in communication skills, as the employer will see if you have the skill to persuade a customer into purchasing a product. Normally, an employer will be interested in that person who can persuade the client to buy or to take a service, or the skill to satisfy the customer's needs, such as implementing useful information that will satisfy the customer, such. And then also an employer will want to see if you are capable of explaining in a manner that will not cause any misunderstandings. Like explaining things clearly is a necessary skill, since the information you offer may be important, but it is even more important that it is understood. Then fifth and finally, computer skills. So since we're in the digital era, technology is taking over, and computers have been the primary tool to many companies, having simplified the work, and the internet that has helped reduce time spent to make maybe research, to communicate with others from a distance and all that. So since the computer is now the modern and most significant tool in our century, it is important to be familiar with the computer, uh, like being familiar with a computer and its function. The knowledge of working with the computer is an extremely important skill that an employer will seek for in an applicant. So those are the things you need to work on, that the job that will be like besides your career, like maybe you engineer or what, in addition to what you did as a career, let's at university or as a profession, you need those things. They are very important. So now let's move on to looking for a job. So that process, or the job search process. So looking for a job is not a single event, like it is a process. If you didn't know that, like some people don't think it is just a single event, but it is a process. So the job seeker has to invest time and energy in the job process. You get, like, you need to take extra effort uh, than what you're putting in now. Like just writing an application is not enough. You need more effort. You need to make research about your potential employers, like you're going to see. So it is not as difficult as it appears to land on a good job, even in the midst of tough competitions. And another fact that needs attention here is that it is not necessarily the most talented that bag the prize or the job, rather someone who has excellent job skills, and of course he who performs adequately. So what you have to know, putting aside that mentality that we had when you were in schools, that job seekers will look out for the best performer. Yeah, they consider that, but they prefer someone who has the job skills than, because you may be a performer, like, because being a performer is all about having a sharp memory, you get things like that. But when it comes to the practical work, they need someone who can do what is required. So you may have a sharp memory, maybe you can memorize very well, so you perform very well, but there is that person does not have as such a sharp memory, but when they are really good at doing the work, so that person will take the job. So besides the performance, you also make sure you acquire the skills as you're going through your studying programs, maybe at university or any other level. So anyway, just to add more emphasis, if you think it is a lie, then you need to find out why in some companies, when it comes to practical courses like engineering, why the people that did certificates and diplomas are more preferred than those who went direct for a degree, because these other programs are more practical compared to a degree. So these people are good at practical, which is what is required in the field, something like that. So leaving that aside, an aspirant for a job has to pass through various stages to get to the job. To get the job, you go through a number of stages. So we're going to look at these stages and then we shall conclude. So number one stage is know your potentials. So these are the stages you go through before you can finally get the job. So first, you need to know your potentials. So the job seeker must know his or her potential or resources and assess them thoroughly. In this way, he or she can plan the strategy for going through the job or the process of job searching, because we said it is a process. So it starts with you knowing your potentials and resources. So having known your potentials and resources, you'll be in position to come up with the strategies that are appropriate with you, or that you can work best with during the job search. So your job search strategies will depend on your potentials and resources. For example, let's say for resources, if you don't have that much transport, like most times you find that people don't have transport as they are looking for jobs because they are not working. So in such a situation, you can decide to do research about the locations of your potential employers. Let's say your potential employers are companies, and you would prefer working in Kampala. So you search where are those companies located in Kampala. And if you find those locations and then you know the locations, then the next day, like having worked on your applications and all you need to apply for a job, then the next day you have to just travel to Kampala, then move from one company to another as you allocated them. Go on dropping your application forms or your application letter to each of those companies on that same day. So that way you're reducing those transport costs you get. And then also, don't think that you only apply in companies where they have advertised vacancies. No, you have to change the ways of doing things. As the things change, you also have to change the way of doing things. So you don't have to be fixed to that old way of doing things, that you only apply in those companies where they have advertised vacancies. You can also go to other companies where they have not advertised vacancies and drop their letter in advance for future opportunities, such that in case they ever need someone in that area, chances are high you will be the first person they will think of and they will contact. You may think of this as maybe weird or not necessary or time wasting, just because it may pay off, maybe not as very soon as you would want, but it works out, because you may not get from the people that have advertised vacancies, but in the nearby future or any time, at least you have hopes that there is still chance, because those companies that where you dropped your letters, they will get in touch with you, and it probably works out. So you just need to give it a try. It doesn't cost that much, just dropping there your letter. So it is like booking an opportunity in advance. Then the other thing, second, is recognize your potential employer. Of course, having finished recognizing your potential, knowing your potential and resources, then you recognize your potential employer. Who is that employer that is interested in you? So the job seeker needs to choose the fields to perform and excel in. So if you have the required competence for banking sector, you may choose the employer as let's say an existing bank which can meet your expectations as a job holder. So you need to know that as you look for the job, you should not have this old mindset that we used to have of being big, like big when it comes to looking for jobs, to the extent that you don't mind the work situations, like you even show that you're craving for the job. No, you need to raise your standards and ensure that as the employer asks to find out if you're the best person for the job, you also prepare questions to challenge them, questions that will help you know whether that employer is the kind of employer you would like to work for according to your work related desires. You get? So you may think like this is like you'll miss out on the best opportunities, but it actually like it portrays like it is something that you, because before you work, actually this happens during the interview, like they ask you to find out, you also ask them. This thing of the interview process is not all about rushing to get a job. No, even like you may be in interviews like 4 of them, let's say you've not got the job, but you've gained the experience of the interview, you've gotten confidence. You get? So next time you have an interview, you will rock it. You get? And even after the interview, don't lose hope. They may not have employed you that time, but in case of any other chance, they will think of you. You get? So when I say that you need to raise your standards as you look for jobs, you need to consider that employment that will, like, you need be as you after the interview asking you questions, and then it is your turn to ask questions. Ask questions that are really the questions that help you know if this employer is that kind of employer you would like to work for, like questions that help you get the condition of the working environment. For example, if you look at the whites, these people consider this thing very important even before they can choose to work for an employer. Like they look at the working conditions. For example, these people most times mind about employee wellness in addition to the other factors they consider. This is what I'd like to spot out. Like so for employee wellness, they will consider if the employer has any wellness programs they offer, because research shows that these are very important for the productivity of employees, like wellness programs. And when you find that like in that those countries, the developed countries, it is like most of the companies, if not all, provide wellness programs to ensure employee productivity, because these things just that are in our countries, people mind less of others. Like bosses will not mind more about the employees. All they need is you doing their work no matter which situation you're in, which is not the case with the whites. They mind about the person's well-being. But because this affects productivity, like I've told you, even companies in these countries of ours have adopted these wellness programs because they have found them to be important in terms of productivity. So you find that though they have not reached that capacity of providing most of the wellness programs, like fitness is a wellness program. Like someone needs to be physically, they need to work out. And then there is music whereby you're working, but then there is some music playing, you get, and then there is insurance, things like, and many others just to mention. So in our countries, at least they have tried, they offer insurance. So why they offer insurance? Because it is research shows that it is the best wellness program that is very effective at reducing employee stress and other things. So insurance is the #1 wellness program. That's why you find that most of the companies, at least in our countries like Uganda, most of the companies now offer insurance. Because take a coincidence, let's say a person is working, but this person does not have anything, not even a medical insurance. Let's compare two people, one with a medical insurance and one without medical insurance. So now this person who has medical insurance, even for their family, this person, his wife will fall sick in the night, and then he will take the wife to the hospital, because even if his salary is not yet in, but he has the insurance card, his wife will get free treatment, or any of his family members. Now look at this other guy who does not have any insurance. So this guy's wife will fall sick, nothing to do, no money, it is just in the middle of the month, so he's stranded, you get. So just from there, and then he's stressed. So this person will not, first of all, they will reach late at work, they will not be effective, because they have that stress at the back of their mind that their lovely wife is home and very sick. So I find that this employee will not be productive until when his wife has healed. So you feel that those things seem as if they are small, but they actually affect employee productivity. And that's why employers now provide that service, because it is the most effective in dealing with stress, because people get stressed with different issues, you get. But when those wellness programs are provided, they reduce on that stress, and the employee is productive. So if you have not yet realized the importance of insurance, then you need to find out. Insurance is something that is important to our lives. That's why you find that when you go to those developed countries, almost everyone has an insurance plan. Those people want peace to the extent that they even insure a phone. You get, insuring a phone. So everything of theirs is insured. So that's why you find that they have peace. So because it provides that peace of mind, which we've not yet adopted here, because people are not used to that system. But as you go on, you realize that insurance is a life necessity that cuts across all the policies of insurance, let it be medical, education, child education, retirement saving, all those, they are necessities to our lives. So in case you need any more information about insurance, advice, or you want to get an insurance policy, you can contact me for help. I'll put my WhatsApp link in the description, so you can tap me anytime for any of that business. And then lastly is interviewing or participating in group discussions. So that is the last step of this, like having I beg your pardon, next is applying for the job, like having known your potentials, you've recognized your potential employer. Now you go and apply in those potential employers. So it is at that stage that the job seeker needs to be sincere in preparing the curriculum vitae, resume or biodata, and then you prepare everything that you need for job application, and then you apply. Then finally is the interview process, or interviewing or participating in a group discussion. So it is at this stage that the job seeker reaches the final round of this job search. So the interview is the final stage of the job search process, because after the interview, if you've successfully completed this stage, then you land, or it lands you in the job, or not, as it is sometimes. Otherwise, that's all we are going to look at in this video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to support our channel. God bless you.